perspective on how Prabhupada reacted when he came to this temple. If we can have him close that door, that might be nice. Devotees are enthusiastically serving in the Pujari room. So Prabhupada's coming here in Atlanta was very special for us who were living here. Gayatri Prabhu, Javarji Prabhu, Gadi Prabhu, many devotees. Of course, Balavanta Prabhu is coming, Nardi Mataji, Jatila Mataji, Swaha Mataji, so many wonderful devotees. And at that time, in 1975, Atlanta was one of the top book distribution places in America, in competition with Chicago. Yeah, you. Chicago, LA, all those places. But we were one of the top temples. In fact, one of our devotees who were very sad that he's not with us anymore, he passed away a year or so ago, Charu Deshna Prabhu, was famous all over the world, but especially Prabhupada saw the BBT book distribution scores from Atlanta, and he saw Charu Deshna's name, and Charu Deshna had did for the first time in the movement 200 plus books in one day. And Prabhupada said, it's simply wonderful how Charu Deshna has distributed so many books. So Atlanta has a very long, distinguished history. Many devotees have come through this temple, and they're all over the world. You might know Vaishesika Prabhu, Swavas Prabhu, Pragosh Prabhu, Tripurari. They all came through the Atlanta temple because it was a famous place for book distribution and serving Prabhupada. So when Prabhupada came here, as Shrutakirti explains to us, he was in a mood of seeing Gaura-Nitai wherever he had gone. But by the time he came here, and he saw the Gaura-Nitai deities, and we were in shock. This temple room was smaller. You see where the ladies are sitting back there? That was a wall and a fireplace. It was completely blocked. But the room had, 400 or 500 devotees. It seemed like so many devotees. And then when Prabhupada came in the room, he was so ecstatic. In fact, when he saw the 3 buildings, he commented to Balavanta how nice. In fact, in Vrindavan, where's Panchagota? When Prabhupada came to Vrindavan, I believe Krishna Balaram installation, there's documentation. Prabhupada said, I have gone for the first time to Atlanta. He said, you should all go there and see how they're dancing before the deities. Then he pointed out, they have 3 buildings, one for the temple, one for the brahmacharis, like that. He was remembering Atlanta in Vrindavan. And as Shrutakirti said the other day, this is a sacred place. In India, if you find one place where an acharya went, and maybe he had his footprint there, I remember Jayapataka Maharaj took us on Parikram in Mayapur. He said, this Goswami lived here. We looked, it's just a spot in the ground, nothing. But he gave so much significance to that because the acharya had gone there. Prabhupada came here. And now we're all sitting in this room where Prabhupada came and gave his historic lecture when he arrived here. And as Shrutakirti pointed out, it was only maybe 2 minutes. Haribol Chatila. So only maybe 2 minutes he spoke. And he became overwhelmed, thinking of Lord Chaitanya, thinking of the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, which he displayed in this room. And now, by all of your sincerity, meaning next generation devotees, you're carrying on this work that Prabhupada inspired all of his disciples to do. And as Sikamiti pointed out, take note that these are all disciples of Srila Prabhupada, still alive, still serving, still preaching. That should serve as an encouragement to all of you. It's possible to spend the rest of your life in service to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was explaining in a lecture this morning, not that you have to be grihasta, vanaprastha, sannyasa, none of that matters. He said you can be a grihasta and serve Krishna. It doesn't matter. You can be a business person and serve Krishna. Be a musician and serve Krishna. So that is the example that we hope to demonstrate for you in our words, in our actions, until the last breath that we have. That's what our prayer is. Until the last breath, we can serve Prabhupada as we serve them here in Atlanta and all over the world. So I have to give at least one pastime, personal pastime with Srila Prabhupada. It wasn't anything directly touching him, directly saying anything to him. I never got an instruction from Prabhupada, but I can follow all his instructions. So when Prabhupada was arriving here in that driveway in a beautiful car, I was standing on his Vyasasan. And the reason was, this devotee, Radha Mohan Prabhu, who was the chief brahmachari in Atlanta, he instituted the deity worship here, Murari Sevak, Miami, many places. So Radha Mohan built this Vyasasan, and I was his assistant. So he told me, as Prabhupada's arriving, he said, stand on the Vyasasan. Who would stand on the Vyasasana? Any one of you? I had to stand on that Vyasasana without the cushions. And Prabhupada's getting out of the car. And as he's getting out of the car, I'm jumping off the Vyasasana. Because Radha Mohan said, stand on it, make sure it doesn't fall over. And the night before Prabhupada arrived, where's Parampara? Parampara was here? He was Bhakta, what was your name then? Peter. So this floor is not the original floor. The floor under this floor is not the original floor. The floor under that is wooden. When we moved in, it was a wooden floor. So we noticed the night before Prabhupada arrived that the little nails, you know, they put nails in the wood, they were popping up. Because we danced so wildly in Atlanta, the floor was popping up. So Parampara and myself, we crawled around every inch of the floor of the temple room, making sure the nails were knocked down. We were thinking of how the gopis were concerned about Krishna when he went to the forest, he might prick his feet. So we thought Prabhupada might prick his feet. So that was a special blessing to serve Prabhupada in, quote unquote, an indirect way. So again, please prepare yourselves for hearing and chanting. Another thing Prabhupada said this morning in the lecture, he said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Those three things, hearing, chanting, remembering. That is the purpose of our life. So we're going to hear from various devotees. And I apologize ahead of time if we don't get to have every person speak because the RT is going to take precedence over that. So we're going to begin with Sruta Kirti Prabhu to bless us with his memories of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravana Pacharni Nirvisesa Sanjavari Pasakachade Satari Vanchakopachuri Bhaschakri Pasindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was thinking, as he was speaking, he gave very nice personal understanding of the significance of this temple. And I can certainly vouch for that. I was thinking, what should I say? And I decided just to tell you some very intimate pastimes I had with Srila Prabhupada here. I went to many, many places with him, but there's certain places that stood out. This was one of those places. So as he said, 1975, and there was a little cold spell going on at that time. And we had come from India, traveling with Srila Prabhupada, so all of his entourage, we carried very little with us. We weren't prepared for cold weather. And anyway, after Prabhupada had been in Caracas, then Miami, then we came here and it was cold, the first morning walk. And after the walk, of course, Srila Prabhupada gave class. And then he went up, took prasadam, and then he rang the bell over there in his rooms, the house next door. And I go in the room, and he looks at me. He said, "Do you have socks?" I said, "No, Srila Prabhupada." He said, "Go to the Elmira." He said, "Take some socks." I said, "Prabhupada, I can't do that." I said, "I can't do that. Your socks." He said, "If I say you can do it, you can do it." And of course, at that point, I knew I surrender with eagerness. Imagine taking Prabhupada's socks. He's offering them to you to wear. So I was greedy. I couldn't wait for him to say that. So I took them. Then he said, "Do the others, do they have socks?" The others means his Sanskrit editor and his secretary. I said, "No, Prabhupada." He said, "Well, take some socks for them." I said, "Yes, Prabhupada." Then he looked at me. He said, "Do you have shoes?" I said, "Prabhupada," I said, "I can't take your shoes." He said, "If I say it's okay, it's okay." Of course, then I took them. And then he said, when the spiritual master's present, he said, whatever he gives you, you can use it. But when he leaves, he said, it becomes worshipable. Imagine the items of the pure devotee, worshipable. And I have items I used to use, but now they're on the altar. So I took the shoes, took the socks, I feel like coming out of Kmart, had a stack of everything Prabhupada gave. And I go into the room, and I already know what's going to happen with my godbrothers because we always played games. So I walked in, and Paramahamsa and Nitai are looking at me, and I got this stack of socks and shoes. Look what Prabhupada gave me. And immediately the face, you can't use those, Prabhupada. I said, oh, because some of the socks are for you. And then, of course, they changed their mentality. So we all sat down on the floor, put Prabhupada's socks on our feet. Imagine. Srila Prabhupada's socks, he said, wear them, keep warm. He took care of us. Every detail. Didn't miss anything. And I sat down with the shoes. Of course, they didn't fit. I was like, in this country, what is it, the stepsister, the wickeds, tried to get my feet into his shoes. What a rascal I was. So then I gave them to the temple president, and he put them at Prabhupada's Vyasasan. But imagine, call you in, made sure you were warm. He gave me sweaters, he gave me blankets, everything. And he continues. It doesn't run out. But everything I did was always connected to service. He would speak to me when I was massaging him. Later on, we'll tell a different story. But some of the most intimate things happened here. And it's all through these deities here who Prabhupada saw their potency. So everywhere is wonderful. Every temple is wonderful, but there are certain places. Nishinga Kavacha, our deity minister, said legacy deities. Deities that Prabhupada installed. They're special. Yeah. So we celebrate this weekend, 50th anniversary, and very significant. Very significant. And I always see the deities, they bring you back. We say we want to know Krishna. They're giving us the opportunity all the time. And I said, every year we say to Sikhi Mahidi, we're coming here. Every year. See look at all these devotees dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. 50 years plus. And they'll go on until they come to Vrindavan, and we'll see them off for their fine. They'll go retire in Vrindavan. And then there's no retirement. Huh? Right? Yeah. All right. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I'm going to put a couple of devotees on the spot, starting with Jatila. She was one of the disciples of Srila Prabhupada here in Atlanta during that time.
Oh. Hare Krishna. Well, what I remember, I was the first one in the temple room. And I sat in the corner behind that wall there. I don't know how this all happened. And Radha Mohan taught us a song. What was the song? I can't remember the name. Yeah. So we learned that song, and Prabhupada came in. I actually was carrying my 2 or 3-year-old. And I think I was standing down there, and it turned out that all the men came down there, and I was stuck. I couldn't move. So I backed up into a corner, and I sat down. And when Prabhupada talked, it seemed as if certain words, certain messages, he was speaking directly to me. I later learned that that's a mystic power. That Prabhupada could make every person think that he was speaking directly to him. So when the lecture was over, I'm in my work clothes. I'm wearing a big baggy shirt, jeans. I've got this baby on my breast, covered up, holding him. And all of a sudden, everybody's saying to me, "Get up, get up, get up." And I get up, and I'm sitting in front of Prabhupada's shoes. And so they get his shoes, and I don't know what to do, so I move over to the doorway, and I'm standing right in the doorway. They put Prabhupada's shoes on him. He just stood there. He waited. He let me look at him. And I wanted to touch his silk, but I couldn't dare. And then he was gone. But I had so many dreams about Prabhupada. And later, when I recover myself, if anyone wants to know about my dreams, I can tell you some of my dreams about Prabhupada. Thank you. Shall I tell you about when I first saw Prabhupada? It was in San Francisco. It was the first San Francisco Ratha Yatra. I went to my ex-husband's house because I had seen a sign showing the picture of the Ratha cart, and it seemed so wonderful to me. I wanted to see that cart and the figures on the cart. And so I went to my husband's house, and he was the only one home. And he said, "Let me go find some other people, go along." So he came back hours later, but we had like 7 people, all in a group. But we had missed the beginning of everything. We missed the meeting in the park, the march to the ocean. But then we took the bus, and we found the place. And I went to the cart, and there were no flowers, and the big figures were gone, and I cried. I didn't have any idea why I cried, but I cried. And then we went inside, and there was a cordon around there were cloths set all over the floor. There was a cordon around. And eventually the devotees came in, and there were just hundreds of devotees, and they were chanting and that buzzing sound. It sounds like bees when they're all together. And I thought, I wonder if I could do that. I didn't think so. I remember what I was wearing. I was a silly girl. I was wearing a pink check dress, white lace stockings, black Mary Janes, and I had my Victorian headband on, my hair long in the back. And I swore that Prabhupada was speaking directly to me, but I couldn't understand him. I missed the important part. When Prabhupada arrived, he was so small, but he moved so smoothly and so fast, just like a wind. And they had made this Vyasasan for him that was like 10 feet tall. And he climbed those steps, and he sat on that big, tall Vyasasan. And he started speaking, and I couldn't understand. I thought there was a translator who was going to come. But the translator never came. I didn't understand what he was saying. So I went to get some, what we called Krishna food. So I went and got my Krishna food. And 10 years later, we were having the first Rath Yatra in Atlanta. And I found an old Bhagavad Gita, and it had the picture of that Vyasasan, and it had the translation of his speech. And at one point, he said, "See, they are leaving now." And that was me. I decided to go get that Krishna food. But that is okay. They will take prasad, and they will become purified, and they will chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
So we have His Grace Balavanta Prabhu, who was a temple president when Srila Prabhupada came to Atlanta. He has many secret pastimes, but one he will not confirm. But Shruti Kirti confirmed the other day. He'll always say, "It didn't happen. It didn't happen." But we have a memory of the bowl, Hari bowl pastime. I won't tell it. Maybe Balavanta will tell it. So please welcome Balavanta Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So this is the 50th anniversary of Prabhupada coming here. There was kind of a lot that led up to that. The history of the temple. I was a student at Emory from 1966 to 1970, and I became interested in this. I look out and I see a lot of people who are here whose ancestry is in India. In those days, there was not that. But I was very interested in India. And so I took courses. I started out with a course in Buddhism, and I learned about reincarnation and karma, and liberation, nirvana, and all that. And I was fascinated. So then I took a course in Hinduism, and I learned about Krishna, and we actually studied Lord Chaitanya. So I'll be a little quick with this. I'll get to Prabhupada as quickly as I can. So I was in Berkeley, California, in December of 1969, and I'm planning to go to school to get a PhD in Hinduism and teach at the college level. But before doing that, I wanted to get a taste of the actual practice of spirituality within Hinduism. So I was going to go to a monastery in India. I was looking for a monastery in India to go to for a few years and then come back and get my PhD. So I'm walking down the street in Berkeley, and I see this effulgent person with a shaved head and robes. And he's handing out incense. And I get up to him and he hands me a stick of incense and he says, "Enlightenment right here in Berkeley." I was just floored. So I took the incense and he gave me a pamphlet and it said, "Join Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement." I thought, how do these people in Berkeley, California know about Lord Chaitanya? Who to me was an ancient, acharya from Bengal, India. How do they know about him? So I was fascinated. I come back to Atlanta, which is, by the way, how you pronounce it, Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Not Atlanta.
Atlanta.
So, so I get back to Atlanta, and so I get to my campus. Hare Krishna. I get to my campus, Emory, and right across the street from the post office are more people with robes and shaved heads. And I thought, these are Lord Chaitanya's people. So I went up to them, and guess who it was? It was Kirtanananda Swami. And it was Parmananda, Yadunanda, and Ranadir. It was quite a powerful group. So I spoke with Kirtanananda, and he told me about Srila Prabhupada. So Kirtanananda, Prabhupada had come to Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you. So Prabhupada had come to New York in 1965. Let me just let the energy settle for a moment. So Prabhupada had come to America in 1965 and incorporated ISKCON in 1966. And Kirtanananda had been one of his first disciples. Kirtananda's father had been the person who baptized Billy Graham. So Kirtanananda was a very, did you know that? Yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Yeah. Reverend Ham, his father was Reverend Ham, was very prominent in his day. So anyway, so Kirtananda, I told Kirtananda that I was going to go to India to go to a monastery, and he said that Prabhupada was already here, and that going to India would be difficult to find someone like Prabhupada. And he said, why don't you just study under Prabhupada? So I thought that's a good idea. And I thought I would do it for 1 year.
50-something years.
Now it's been over 50 years. So then I met Rupanuga in New Vrindavan. I'd gone there for a visit, and Rupanuga said they wanted to open an ashram here in Atlanta. So, and asked would I help, and I said yes, I would help. So that was June of 1970. We opened the first ashram here, which was on 9th Street, anyone knows, and then we were on 9th Street from June to November of 1970. We moved to 13th Street. So we were on 13th Street, which was in the middle of the hippie district. I met Prabhupada for the first time in New York, in Boston, in the summer, I believe it was 1970. He was eating watermelon and with salt and pepper. And Sunita was in the room with him, she's from India also. He looked at Sunita and smiled and he said, "The watermelon here is much better than India." I thought, boy, I agree with this person. So I met him. That was the first time I met him. And then I had some correspondence with him. Some very beautiful correspondence that he wrote, but he didn't. So what happened is in about 1972 or 73, there was a devotee in Gainesville, Florida, by the name of Amarendra. Prabhupada had written, Prabhupada, in his first canto of the Bhagavatam, he talks about how it's so important for the government to be supportive of spirituality. That spirituality doesn't flourish very well if the government is antagonistic towards it. And so he talked about the importance of Rajarshis. So this made a strong impression on all of us. But Amarendra had been a very politically active activist, anti-war activist, before becoming a devotee. So he took that message from Prabhupada and he ran for office in Gainesville, Florida. I heard about that up here in Atlanta, and I was fascinated with that idea. So I wrote to Prabhupada just anyone that knows me knows that I have these volcanic brain explosions. Sometimes they call it bipolar, but I have these explosions of the brain. I get all these inspirations. Often they're very impractical. But so I had this explosion of the brain that I'm going to run for mayor of Atlanta. So I wrote to Prabhupada, and then once the letter was off, I couldn't bring it back. And I thought, how crazy is Prabhupada going to think that is? So I just put a sentence in one of my letters. In those days, every president had to write to Prabhupada every month. So this was my monthly letter. Comes back this response from Prabhupada, like 3 pages long. Yes, do it. We've always wanted that, and it goes on and on. We must set the perfect example. I can remember it all. We must set the perfect example in all fields of activities. Why not politics? And so I very much approve of this idea. Now do it with full enthusiasm. And I said, oh boy, now I can't get out of this. So I paid my $1,000. My parents had sent me $1,000 from some stock that they had bought for me. It was some kind of dividend, and that was what the cost of entering the mayor's race. So that's equivalent to about $10,000 today, I would say, 1973, 73. So I paid my money, and next thing I know, I'm in these debates in a mayor's race of the city of Atlanta. And everybody's looking, and so I didn't know what to say. And I asked Prabhupada, what should I say? And he basically said that, that materialism is not the answer, that there must be God consciousness. That, the society has to have God consciousness. Without God consciousness, life is meaningless. And this just pure materialistic way of life is not, it's not real. It's missing the point. So I made those points. And Prabhupada was very encouraging. Then, without going into all the details, he started a political before I get to that. So we got huge amounts of publicity. And from that publicity, some very strong, high-level people started joining the temple. And here's an example of one right here. Mr. Balabhadra Bhattacharya and some others joined. And so before long, that little temple on 13th Street could not accommodate all of the people who were coming. The temple room on the Sunday feast was spilling out onto the streets. And that's when we got these properties. So we got these 3 buildings from there. I think a lot of it was the energy that was generated from the mayor's race. And then, without going into details, Prabhupada decided to stop the political campaigns because it was endangering our tax exempt status. So we were using it for preaching, but so he stopped it. But he knew who I was from that. So meanwhile, Srila Damodar who was very pet disciple, very favorite disciple of Prabhupada, had moved to Atlanta to go do his postdoctorate work at Emory. So he was here, and he was writing to Prabhupada. Atlanta is such a beautiful place with big trees, and he was describing everything. and inviting Prabhupada, please come to Atlanta. So Prabhupada knew about Atlanta from the mayor's race, and from Srila Damodar. So this is in the end of 1974. And then in 1975, we get the letter that Prabhupada would like to visit. So in February of 1975, he came. And we picked him up from the airport. And I wanted everybody to get to the temple to receive him. So all the devotees came to the temple. And people came here from all over. The Radha Damodar party was here. The people came up from Florida. They came from anywhere in the area that they could come to see Prabhupada. So the temple room was just packed with people, and everybody loved Prabhupada. I mean, just the love that people had, for Prabhupada is just indescribable. I mean, your heart just went out to Prabhupada. And it was spontaneous. It wasn't something that went through your mind and to your intelligence and I should love this person. He was just so lovable. Anyway, so I brought him the long way around. And so we had a limousine. I brought him around and came out across the street rather than coming directly. I took him the scenic route. So when we got to that intersection on the other side of the park, on the other side of Ponce de Leon, you looked across and you could see the temple and all the devotees outside chanting, waiting for Prabhupada. I think you were with us. Yeah. And so Prabhupada, he liked it.
Yeah, he liked it.
He liked it. It was
Reception, yeah.
it was quite a vista that could be seen anyway. So he came and then everyone else can describe those couple of days, but they were just for some of us, for those of us who, could enter into that energy. It was definitely the spiritual world for those few days. Srila Kirti was very instrumental in all that. It was Prabhupada's expansion in a way. So anyway, that's what I can say. That's the history. That's how Prabhupada came to Atlanta. And he's been here ever since.
Balavan Prabhu Ki. So we have a few more devotees that were here when Srila Prabhupada came to Atlanta, but I'm going to make a little change because we're blessed to have His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj here. We have time, right? 50 or 15? Okay, no problem. No problem. And we also have Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj. I believe he's coming to speak about Panihati. So I would request His Holiness Bhakti Vikash Maharaj to speak. He's spearheading Sankirtan revolutions all over the world, but especially here in Atlanta. Yeah, the Krishna, Atlanta. Don't say Atlanta. Atlanta. Atlanta, okay. Atlanta. So Maharaj is going to give us his inspiration. Last year we were blessed also to have him speak, so thank you, Maharaj, for being here.
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyatisha Anchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvir Vichapatitanam Bhavanesh. I don't have any memories of Srila Prabhupada in Atlanta. But I'm going to take this opportunity to ask a question to Shrita Kirti Prabhu and Panchagoda Prabhu. As I came across something in my wanderings in the Veda base, which I do, I spend a lot of my time wandering in the Veda base. It's all right, it's not. So this morning I came across a quote from our godbrother Gaura Prabhu, which he wrote in a Vyasa Puja offering, that Rasada Prabhu, was he in Atlanta at all? Rasada. He was passing away from cancer.
Rasada.
He was in Paris and in Brazil.
Brazil.
Oh,
And then
in Paris. Oh, that was back to Richard or something. The
we called him
dirty pig or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm thinking of someone. So anyway, he had told Gaura Prabhu, who mentioned it in this Vyasa Puja offering, that Srila Prabhupada had said that the devotees should spend 8 months a year in the West and 4 months each year in Mayapur and Vrindavan, getting spiritually recharged. You ever hear that, either of you? If neither of you heard it, it's maybe one of those Prabhupada says.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll relegate it to the Prabhupada said doubtful category.
the festival times. Guru Purnima.
Every year it doesn't have the mic.
I took it away.
I mean, we've heard that every year devotees should come to the Holy Dham, Vrindavan, Mayapur, and recharge their batteries so they can go out again to feel the preaching. I don't know about the 4 months and 8 months.
Oh, okay.
But there's a time of retirement. You can come and live your whole life in
Yeah.
Vrindavan. You know, when they don't want you at home anymore and you have
Uh-huh.
nothing else to do, might as well come to Vrindavan and retire.
It may be that Srila Prabhupada said that casually to someone. There are so many things. I learned so many things just in a few minutes hearing from Balavanta Prabhu. And as I say, I spend especially the last the last few years, I've spent much of my time wandering around the Veda base and on YouTube watching videos, Prabhupada's instructions, memories of Prabhupada. There's so much material, so much rich material. I was compiling a book on Srila Prabhupada, which was recently published. I learned that Father, what do they call him? They call him Father Ham, do they? He was a Baptist kirtan, and they call it Pastor Ham or whatever, senior.
His
He-
father was minister, Baptist minister.
Yeah, his father was a famous Baptist minister. He baptized Billy Graham.
Well, that's something I learned. You don't say father in Protestant tradition, that's Catholic. No. Reverend, okay. Then, what else? I got some background information on the In God We Trust initiative, which I did a whole section on in the, did I send that to you in advance for checking, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't get that. One major reason Srila Prabhupada, maybe I did, I don't remember, that Srila Prabhupada stopped it because of it could threaten our tax-exempt status. Karanda convinced her about that, yeah. Although Srila Prabhupada also said that it was because it was a distraction, something like that he was saying.
Srutakirti knows that I approached Srutakirti when Prabhupada was here, so it's a little relevant to the discussion. Because Prabhupada came, the party had been stopped, and so I wanted to speak with Prabhupada about that and understand a little more deeply why he had done that. So I asked Srutakirti, could I speak with Prabhupada about the In God We Trust party? So Srutakirti mentioned that to Prabhupada, and then so I was invited in. It was just me and Prabhupada. Srutakirti, you hadn't stayed, I don't believe. You didn't stay in the room. So I sat down in front of Prabhupada, and he said, so I think you want to discuss politics. So I said, yes, Prabhupada. I remember exactly the words. Yes, Prabhupada, but I do not want to do it if you are not enthusiastic. Because I'm doing it for him, not for me. And he said, oh, I am enthusiastic. Just don't ask me for money. That was a pretty clear message, because we couldn't run. We had told him previously by letter that these campaigns are quite expensive, And so we need money, and we had proposed that we would have Sankirtan devotees in various temples to collect money for the Ingawi Trust Party. And Karandar had told Prabhupada that if you do that, you're going to lose your tax-exempt status.
Yeah.
So Prabhupada stopped it. So that was a shorthand way of telling me that that's why.
There's Prabhupada remembrances last year, this year, next year. How many more years do you expect this to go on for disciples of Srila Prabhupada saying this? It'll go on eternally, but on this plane, on this planet. Right, you had some serious health issue, right?
I died.
He left.
Medically, I died on the beach,
Hare Krishna.
and I came back. Just to be with you, yes.
Wow.
So to the devotees who are sitting down there in front of us, the great Mahatmas, leaders of the future, you can just, I'm sure you know, but request and remind you that these great personalities, they're not going to be here much longer, so please take advantage of their association. And also, these Prabhupada remembrances can go on eternally. One way, on this plane, one way is that we do have so much material that was collected for Prabhupada Lilamrita. A lot of that stuff, a lot of the remembrances were lost, and a lot of it has been found again fairly recently, and it's in the latest edition of the Veda base. Then Siddhanta Prabhu has done that tremendous service of finding out so many disciples of Srila Prabhupada and others and recording their memories, and I request any here among the disciples of Srila Prabhupada or others who may have had his direct darshan to make an appointment with Siddhanta Prabhu. When he asked me, I said, I don't have much to say. I didn't have hardly any association. And whatever I had, I wrote it in a book. But he said, do it anyway. So I did. Whatever it is, it's valuable. What is it, Trump, what's he doing nowadays? He's having a fight with Elon Musk. Forget it. Prabhupada sneezed. It's much more important. Everything Srila Prabhupada said and did is far more important. Just Mukunda Prabhu was talking about that in the class this morning, that everything in over at Krishna. Mukunda here. Not here yet. Saying everything, that was there in the Bhagavatam verse we're going through, that everything, it's all the same. It goes in what's in the past, it's in the present, it's in the future, it's the same old chewing the chewed. But whatever Srila Prabhupada did is of eternal, cosmic importance. We have to be careful in so everyone can select their favorite memories. 50 years from now they can speak. We have to be careful because sometimes devotees see the same situation in a different way, and I've heard, or actually it's recorded, different versions, and some versions they exaggerate the facts or get them wrong. I put that in the book also, how there's one recording of Indradyumna Swami saying how at a festival I can't remember exactly myself, and that's the problem, at a festival in Bombay with 50,000 people present, Prabhupada had a fight with a hippie, but he said, you're not God, you are a dog. But it's all mixed up because it was in Delhi, there were less people. where there was Prabhupada had a fight with a hippie, and there was another occasion in Glasgow in Scotland where someone stood up and said, "I am God," and Prabhupada said, "You are not God, you are dog." So things get mixed up. We have to be careful also. There's one recording of Srila Prabhupada, Chirayu, I just mentioned, Mukunda Prabhu. There's one recording of Srila Prabhupada where he tells the disciple, "Don't breathe." So presumably that devotee was close to Prabhupada and breathing directly in his face, I suppose. But if you take that literally, Prabhupada said, and it's for everyone. So when you join this movement, you don't breathe. Is that right? Maybe you have to become a yogi to get to the stage where you don't breathe. So it has to be taken carefully. But it should go on. It should go on. We all are eternally linked with Srila Prabhupada, and by his mercy we're all we're all intrinsically eternally linked with Krishna, but we here and so many others are eternally linked with each other via Srila Prabhupada. We're all linked with Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas in Parampara. So, to my God brothers and God sisters here, I request you to please forgive all my offenses. I can't guarantee I won't commit more, but please forgive me and please bless me, and look forward to seeing you all at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Don't know where, don't know when, but we're all going to be there, right? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So we're going to take a small break from the glorifications because we have some special gifts for Prabhupada disciples who are in Atlanta. Most Prabhupada disciples all over the world are receiving the same gift, and it was done by the devotees from Russia. And Panihati has some insight on how this is actually Prabhupada Murti. Yeah, take it up. Put it in my lap. I'll take it. So you can explain.
Take one out so they can show them. This project was done by the devotees in Russia. I think it began about 3 years ago. And they made this murti from the coins that they had collected on Sankirtan of Srila Prabhupada. And you'll find also in here, there is a, well, this was a little different. Okay. There was, because the cushion is there, you have to take, in the back, there is a inlay of a, what kind of tree was Prabhupada born under? Jackfruit tree. They took some of that jackfruit tree to make that inlay, from that same tree that Prabhupada was born under, to make that inlay on the back of the...
The deities made from coins collected on Sankirtan, yes. So they're all melted down into the deities. So they made them for all of Srila Prabhupada's disciples to have, and he's beautiful. If you look at him close up, it's Prabhupada. It's very, very nice. So the Russian devotees put this together over the last years, and they distributed many of them at the 50th anniversary in Vrindavan. So I think these devotees here are distributing to some of the devotees right here, yes.
So anyway, Balabhadra, he's going to have the honor presenting these to the devotees. I think most of you are aware they're coming, yes or no? Surprise, huh? Good. I got mine in my airport too. So, please, without further ado, stand up.
No, I want to invite one of the so-called second-generation devotees to come and present these. I'll give the names. So who would like to volunteer to personally hand these beautiful deities to the disciples? Please come. I had, there's 12 of them, and I tried to put them inside this little sleeve, but they didn't fit properly, so some don't have that. But I'll give the name.
Yeah.
This is for Siki Pichadari. Haribo! Haribo! Next is for rascal number 1, Balabhadra Bhattacharya Das. Haribo! Where is my dear God sister Naradi Devi Dasi?
I can take it.
Balavanta Prabhu said he would take for her. This is for Naradi Devi Dasi, co-founder of the Murari band, along with Gayatri Prabhu and myself. Who is that?
Mahasini.
Haribo! Mahasini Mataji, there she is. Haribo! Mahasini. Sini.
Gari Prabhu.
Haribo!
Hanumat Prakash Swami.
So these are on the box itself.
Nandacharya Das.
I think Parampara Prabhu can take for Nandacharya. Where is he?
Parampara Das. Parampara Das. Jita Kroda Das. Nandacharya?
That's one.
Yeah, we just did. Abhayashya?
Abhaya, Ashray.
Yeah. We had that. That's it. That's it.
That has a box.
There is one more box. 4? Nandacharya. Jvara Jita.
Gayatri Prabhu right here. Haribo! I know. I think that's everyone. So those are all the ones that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
And we'll continue with the glorifications. And we'd like to request Gaudi Prabhu. They have to contact the devotee. I don't have the information right now, but you can just go Google Prabhupada Murtis. You got yours, right? Oh, Gayatri. No, what about Gayatri? Wait a minute.
I got mine.
I have one for Gayatri. Yeah. Okay. I have one for Gayatri.
Not here. I have one of these for auction.
Nah. Give this to Gayatri. Here's one for Gayatri Das Prabhu. I thought we had one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
It's Madan Mohan Prabhu, the Russian devotee. So if there's any disciples who did not get the Prabhupada Murti, I could give you his email address, or you can give me your email address and I can send details to him and you can get your Srila Prabhupada Murti. Or if you know of anyone, then you can also let them know.
I was going to say the North American GBC made arrangements with all the local temples. So we started this back in November, collecting names. And so, as you mentioned, there may be one or two that are outliers that may not have gotten, but all the regions should have been taken. Florida way back, right? Alachua, they already done all these things. Huh? Okay. go until he comes.
No, it's time. Where is it?
Twelve
Morris.
thirty.
Huh?
12:30.
RT is 12:30.
Huh?
RT is at 12:30 or
No,
Morris?
he can speak. He
Okay.
can do one, but you can do a couple more.
So I'm going to request Gaudidas Prabhu to speak a little bit about your remembrance of Prabhupada coming to Atlanta.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Well, I'll go to one point. When Prabhupada first arrived, at that time, myself and my wife, at that time, Tatiksha Devi, was taking care of the deities, and the deities were only Shishi, Agora, and Nitai. And we had just completed a new altar, and it had some special features. It had a mirrored ceiling, and which was kind of unusual. And when Prabhupada came in, he came in that door right there, and I was standing there next to him, and he started crying. Actually, you saw tears coming to his eyes when he saw Gaura-Nitai. And I felt so completely satisfied that Prabhupada was somehow pleased with that little service of taking care of Gaura-Nitai at that time. And then, I'm not speaking properly? Oh, I can speak properly. Oh, okay. Oh, Purushottam Maharaj, Hare Krishna. So at that time, we were taking care of the deities, and the deities opened, and Prabhupada was very, very, very emotionally expressed so many beautiful emotions at that time. And then he left that spot there and proceeded to the Vyasa-san, and he began, and he addressed everyone in the shortest arrival address that Srila Prabhupada has ever given, because he became very choked up about what he was feeling here in this temple. It was a very special time, a very special time for Srila Prabhupada, and all the devotees were very happy, very ecstatic. So Prabhupada, I can't quote it exactly, maybe, but he was very happy that we were worshiping Gaura-Nitai as we were doing. And then after a short, very brief introduction, he became too choked up to even speak, and then he proceeded to his quarters. So that was a moment of time that I could share with you with that particular event. But I want to move forward to the present time, and also to Srila Prabhupada's interest, not just interest, but his desire to see farm communities being developed. This was very, very important. I have some information here. It's called, a little booklet called At Any Cost, Do It. And so I have a project in Shelbyville, Tennessee. It's called ISKCON Murari Sanctuary. And I would like to give you out some information about it if you like. But we have 23 cows, we have beautiful Radha Krishna deities, and a lot of chanting, a lot of kirtan. That's the main thing about this whole movement, is called the Hare Krishna movement because it's about chanting Hare Krishna. You understand that, right? So Prabhupada gave us the most incredible gift. He gave us the gift of the holy name, the most powerful mantra ever produced by God himself and distributed by God himself as Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we've taken to heart this idea that the holy name is really everything. You don't need anything else. If you chant this name every day in a regulated way with enthusiasm, faith, and love, and affection towards Krishna, you will make spiritual advancement very, very quickly. So this is the true gift of Srila Prabhupada. The true gift is that he has given us Krishna's names, and these names are very special. especially the names of Krishna, Govinda, Gopal, from a place called Vrindavan. You know Vrindavan? So in this way, he has given us, he's opened up the doors to the spiritual world for anyone who understands the importance of chanting these holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It will change your life completely. And then all you want to do is to serve Srila Prabhupada with life and soul, heart and soul. That's all there's left to do. And try to help others become Krishna conscious. That's our business, isn't it, Maharaj? Help others become Krishna conscious. All right. So I'll pass the baton on to another speaker. And thank you very much for a short moment. And we have, like I said, we have some things I can give you on the way out or whatever. And more about our ISKCON Murari Sanctuary, Inc. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So we're going to have one more Prabhupada disciple that was here when Srila Prabhupada came, and then we're going to hear from Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, and then I'll ask Vedasara Prabhu to close it out as our temple president. So first we'll hear from, I consider him a jewel. He was my first Sankirtan leader, and we were talking earlier, but he was really tough, really tough. One time we were in a park, Alabama somewhere, and he asked me to give the Bhagavatam class. We always had class on Sankirtan. So some travelers were moving through the park and they all sat down for the class. And I gave this, in my opinion, wonderful class. But I forgot to mention the holy name. So Javar just said, "You idiot. You didn't mention Hare Krishna mantra." So that's been my lesson for the rest of my life. Always glorify the holy name. Javarji Prabhu ki.
Srila Prabhupada said that the holy names are glorious, and anyone who chants those names can become glorious. So that's how important is the chanting. So in 1976, Balavanta Prabhu allowed some of us to go to India with him to the Mayapur festival. And Balabhadra, I think Balabhadra's the only other one here today that was there. So we got to go to Mayapur. And as the bus is pulling in to where the temple is, the mandir, we could see the very top of the building. There was only one building there at this time, and there were some outbuildings still being built, and the Prasadam pavilion had been finished. So when we saw the very top of the building there in Mayapur, I felt like, and this is the only time in my whole life I ever had this feeling, was that I had come home, and that was home. So when we went to, we walked down to the temple, and we started up the steps because our quarters was upstairs. And as we're getting ready to walk up the steps, who do we see but Srila Prabhupada? And Prabhupada's walking down the steps, and he sees Balavanta Prabhu, and generally Prabhupada's eyes were like this, but when he saw Balavanta, his eyes got really big like that. So he stopped and they exchanged some words. I went on up the steps and was walking down the veranda and walked past a open window, and I looked in the window, and there sat Srila Prabhupada. And I looked back down, and no, Prabhupada's still walking from where he went down the steps. I looked back in the window, and there's Srila Prabhupada. And I thought, wow, this is really something. Prabhupada's expanding himself all over Mayapur. This is really, and then it hit me. That's Srila Prabhupada's sister, Pishima. She looked just like Srila Prabhupada. So I paid my obeisances and went on. And there was one other time in Mayapur, which I consider to be a pretty intimate thing with Srila Prabhupada. someone asked me if I would sit outside his room and make sure there was no disturbance. I don't know what I would have done if had there been one. But so I was determined I would sit there and I would not fall asleep, that I would not be the devotee that Prabhupada poked and says, what are you doing? So I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all of a sudden I sensed some movement. And I looked up, and Prabhupada had walked out of his room. He was just wearing a gumsha and some flip-flops, and he leaned against the railing, and he was looking out towards the Jalangi. It was on that side of the building. And so whenever I was around Prabhupada, which was just a few times, here in Atlanta and in Philadelphia and in India, it's very easy for me to want to stare at him, because two things when I was around Prabhupada, I wanted to hear him. I wanted to hear whatever he had to say, and I also liked to look at him and watch him. He was the most wonderful person ever that I've ever seen, and the way he moved, the way he carried himself, everything was like he was the most special person. It can't be described. He was so special in the way he moved, in the way he spoke, and so he just leaning. So I'm kind of pretending to read Chaitanya Charitamrita, and at the same time I'm watching everything that Prabhupada does, because I don't want him to look over and say, well, what's that fool staring at me for? So, but then he eventually went back in his room. So there's one other thing that happened in India. Since Balabhadra's here, I can tell this. Balavanta had gotten all of us together in the room where we're staying, and he was giving us some instructions. And one of his instructions was that don't go into sweet shops in Navadvip. And he specifically said to Jayasena Prabhu, who's not with us today, he's been passed away for a few years. But anyway, kind of specifically singled out Jayasena, who evidently had been in India with Balavanta before and spent a lot of time in Navadvip. But anyway, so we were given that instruction. And then a little later on, Balavanta had purchased clay mridungas that he wanted to bring back to the temple. So he he actually did have a carpenter in Navadvip make boxes to put the mridungas in so that we could ship them back, bring them back to the United States, back to Atlanta. So he told me and Balabhadra one day, he said, he had a piece of paper he gave to us. He says, here's the address of a carpenter in Navadvip. I want you and Balabhadra to go over there and give him this paper and give him this order for these boxes. So what could we say? Anything Balavanta wanted, we would do. Actually, I heard in that trip in India, one time a devotee said to Balavanta, he said, Balavanta, your men do not seem to give you proper respect. And Balavanta's reply was, but they always do what I ask. So when he asked us to go, of course we said, okay, we'll go. We're in the temple in Mayapur. We don't know where Navadvip is. We don't know where anything is. So somehow or other, we found our way. I think we found our way to a ferry, and then we ferried over to Navadvip, and got into Navadvip, and finally there was this one Indian man there who was very kind, and he spoke really good English. And we told him what our mission was and where we were trying to go. And it was really hot. He said, get out of it. He said, come get out of the sun, stand in the shade. And he talked with us. So he said, now you go down this road, and you will come to a giant banyan tree. And when you come to that tree, it was like a traffic circle, sort of. So you go around that tree, and then you go down this road this way, and down that street on the right, you'll find this address, and that's where the carpenter is. You can give him this order. So we walk down, we see the big banyan tree, and as we're starting to walk down to the banyan tree, there's a sign up on one of the little buildings there, one of the little shops, and it said, "Welcome, Hare Krishna devotees." So Balabhadra and I, we look at each other and we go, "Hey, I bet that's one of those sweet shops we're not supposed to go in." So we went on around the tree, and we went down. We found the place, and we gave the man the order for the boxes. And then we're walking back, and we came back up to the banyan tree, and we see the sign again. It says, "Welcome, Hare Krishna devotees." And we look up there, and we went, "Hey, there's a devotee in there." I said, "Let's walk up there and see who it is." So we walked up the steps of this sweet shop, walked in, we took a peek in the door, and sitting at a table there by himself with all these sweets around was none other than Jayasena Prabhu. So we said, "Hey, that's Jayasena, let's go in." So we went into the sweet shop, and Jayasena said, come on, Prabhus, come sit down. I have some sweets all offered up. Here, have a rocket." Remember that? I said, "Here, have a rocket." So Balabhadra and I sat down with Jayasena in this sweet shop, or none of us were supposed to be there, and we were eating sweets in Navadvip. So we had Balabhadra and I had some other adventures there, distributing Prabhupada's books and like that, but time is short. And it was quite an experience. But Prabhupada was the most unique, the most wonderful, the most beautiful, the most well-spoken. We were talking earlier about his kirtan. Prabhupada had perfect pitch. When you listen to him, it's all beautiful because there was nothing that wasn't beautiful about Prabhupada.
Haribo! So now we're going to request His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj to please come. Yeah. He came to Atlanta with Jayapataka Maharaj in 1980 or 81. Brahmachari. He came to the Morari Band rehearsal hall, and he was very happy.
You can sit over here, Marge, so they can see you better here.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I came here in 81.
You go to 1 o'clock. 1 p.m. 30 minutes.
The time you taken to come to class now?
Yes. Well, we'll start and I'll give it to you on my phone.
I'll take it out here. Get a book. Okay, I'll speak later. Oh, Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamineti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschata Desatarine. Yes, I have been coming to Atlanta since 1981. That time I remember Parampara Prabhu, Gokularanjana Prabhu, Murari Band. They used to play there. I do not know much about Prabhupada because I have not seen Prabhupada. But I see Prabhupada through his disciples. I have not seen the tree, but I have seen the fruits. Right? Fruits are what we enjoy. And that is the glory. You recognize a tree through its fruits. No? You understand. And when I came, they were requesting me to come up, sit on the chair. But Prabhupada disciples, they do not understand. They do not understand. Srila Prabhupada disciples, they do not understand how cooling it is, refreshing to sit at their feet. Very cooling. because their association is very, very rare for us at present. After a few years, we will completely finish. And we are hearing something happened Prabhupada's times, 50 years, 60 years before. Sometimes I think each of Prabhupada's disciples should write a book. It will be like Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat after 50 years, 100 years. It will be regarded like that. And so, of course, that time people will read in books is one thing, and hearing from the lotus mouth is different things. Many times I hear Suttakirti Prabhu's description of Prabhupada's pastimes. It's so nectarian, you'll forget everything. And now I see this Panihati festivals has one kind of glamour before. Now, in many ways, glamour has reduced, but Prabhupada's disciples' presence, glamour of that is still maintained. It's main attraction, right? So many Prabhupada's disciples you see, somewhere that they come to this place. And it's very nice to associate with them, to hear from them. This year during Gaur Punya festival in Mayapur, we invited all Prabhupada disciples so that they can meet each other. And it's so nectarian to hear from their mouth what happened 50, 60 years before, going to Navadip, buying this sweet, all these pastimes. We'll never hear, in future. Very interesting. So you have the book. So I just want to say, our brother Bilas Prabhu is here, who's really, really working day and night hard how to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's desire to build this temple of Vedic planetarium. All over the world, just traveling to fulfill Prabhupada's desire. And since last many years I have been contemplating, I discussed with a few other GBCs that how nice it would be if one gathering you do at Mayapur, inviting all Prabhupada's disciples from all over the world. See, Mayapur, we are building temple, but that property was bought by Prabhupada's disciples, their money. One interesting thing I see, keep it here. There are many Prabhupada disciples, they are still in ISKCON, good standing. They're out of ISKCON, in Gaudiya Math here, there in good standing. There are some have become karmi, not in good standing. But one thing I have observed, even if they have given up Krishna consciousness, they have not given up Prabhupada from their heart. Yes. Prabhupada is still living in their heart. Sometimes I feel strongly, because of that thing, the Prabhupada is still in their heart, they will go back to Godhead. Irrespective of, they can adhere to all the principles or not. But Prabhupada is there within their heart. So it will be a great thing, Brother Vilas Prabhu, after you complete the temple, bring all disciples of Prabhupada and offer this temple to their hand. It will be nice things. Temple of Vedic Planetarium, okay. So now I have been told to speak something about Panihati festival. I don't know, in front of Maharaj, he is so learned. He speaks so eloquent Bengali. He is Bangladesh resident also for some time. To speak in front of him, it will be like a small child speaking to his father. But small child with broken language speak to father, that is very palatable, is not it? Haribol. So this festival of Chiradadhi festival, Panihati festival is a very unique festival. The festival of punishment, Danda Mahotsav. If somebody will invite, hey, we are having a nice festival, please come. What festival is that? Festival of punishment. How many will go for festival? So this is a unique festival of punishment. Huh? Yes, Nityananda Prabhu is Abadhut, something, all his behavior, his attitude, his way of talking, everything very unique. It's not good word to use it, abnormal. Abnormal. His pastimes are so sweet, and Nityananda Prabhu plays such an important role in your devotional life. Nitair karuna habe braje Radha Krishna pabe. Oh, that mercy of Nityananda. You can't reach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Forget about reaching Radha Krishna. And that these pastimes exhibits that. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was planning to go to Vrindavan. Then Nityananda Prabhu tricked him, brought him to Santipur. He stayed 10 days there. Mother Sachi came, cooked every day for him. That time Raghunath Das, he went to meet his young boy. Raghunath Das was very blessed because that area, Chandpur area, Haridas Thakur came when Raghunath Das was a very small boy. And I read somewhere, just by seeing him, such a beautiful boy, Haridas Thakur became so happy. So that is how to get the blessings of the Vaishnavas. Sometimes we pray, oh Maharaj, please bless me. Or we catch hold of their feet, pull their feet, blessing does not come like that. It is not like that the sadhus have blessings in their Godrej Almira. You tell, okay, 1 kilo blessings, 2 kilo blessings. That would be very nice, but it is not like that. By pleasing the devotees. Haridas Thakur felt very pleased. Raghunath Das was blessed. And he wanted to join Mahaprabhu, take shelter of lotus feet of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, don't show this Markata Vairagya, monkey renunciation. Go back to your house, properly enjoy your family life. But secretly said, but one time will come, you come and join me also. That is what we do. When people come to that, then we pass, no, you read, get a good job, this, that. But internally you should come join ISKCON. So Mahaprabhu did the same trick. When time comes, you come. So then he went. Someone was staying, but his mind was not there. Again and again running away to join Mahaprabhu. But he was not successful. His mother told his father, this boy has become mad, tie him in a rope. Father said, with which rope I'll tie him? They gave him married to a beautiful girl so that he will not run away. That is what in India they do. If some boy want to become Babaji, then they put a nice girl married, so he'll be bound, no? He will not become sadhu. That is common things happen in India. Then father said, by which rope can I bind him? We have opulence like Indra. He has beautiful wife like denizens of heavenly planets. That could not bind him. And which rope I can bind him? Finally, one day he came to know that Nityananda Prabhu has come on the other side of Ganga, Panihati, where he was living on the other side. Then he went there. Then he saw Nityananda Prabhu that day morning with all of the devotees. He went to Ganga, bank of Ganga, not with any purpose, just went there. Then when Raghunath Das came, and from a distance he saw under the big banyan tree a huge personality sitting, radiant like millions of suns, so effulgent. So he's sitting there. Nityananda Prabhu was very huge body. Lochandas Thakur Das saying, when Nityananda Prabhu chants, dances and rolls on the ground, looks like sonar parvata jana dhulate lutaye. As if a golden mountain is rolling on the ground. That was the description of. And when he saw Raghunath Das from far distance, he offered obeisances. So that is Vedic system. If you see Guru, a respectable person, from far distance, when fast you see, offer obeisances. Even if that person is not looking at you. Then second time you go close so he can see you. Then again offer obeisances. Then you go more close, he can hear you. Namam Vishnupada, then offer obeisances. Says obeisances, then somebody informed him, Nityananda Prabhu, oh, Raghunath is offering obeisances to you. Then Nityananda Prabhu said, oh, you thief, you are avoiding me? Come here. And then he's calling him, Raghunath is not coming. Then Nityananda Prabhu went forward, brought him, put his head down and put his feet on top of his head. What is happening here? We are pulling the legs of devotees and Gurudev. Put on my head. But dear Nityananda Prabhu is pulling Raghunath, come, I'll put my leg on your head. So this is supposed to be. We should please the devotees to spiritual master in such a way. Spiritual master will feel blessed to put his lotus feet on our head. No? So that is the process. Then I will give you then he said, I'll punish you. You thief, always staying away from me. So what punishment? Then he said, the punishment is you have to feed all my associates chipped rice and yogurt. That is the way the Vaishnavas they punish. During Gundicha Marjana, that during the cleaning, no, Gundicha temple, some devotees, they would not clean properly. Just like today also we cheat, sometimes we don't engage. That time there are some people like that also there. So Mahaprabhu would say that, okay, you clean, collect all the dots, gather, I will check and see who is cleaning how much, and whoever has gathered less dots, he will be punished. What punishment? He has to feed all the devotees. It's a unique punishment there. So Raghunath Das was very happy to get this danda punishment. So he immediately informed his father. So much chipped rice, yogurt, milk, they brought. Then they brought 200 clay pots, then 7 pots prepared. Milk with yogurt, chipped rice with yogurt, chipped with milk, chipped rice with the condensed milk, and all kinds of preparations. Chaitanya Charitamrita says that. But new Panihati has excelled the real Panihati festival. I see Panihati festival there. What Nityananda Prabhu is getting nowadays. But I see festival here. I don't think whole earthly planet there is chipped rice festival happening here, anywhere happens like that. The first time, actually my Guru Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj, very enthusiastically he used to observe the chipped rice festival. Very big way, thousands of people distributing chipped rice. At one point he dropped and he started here. The first time I came, I really felt the chipped rice festival is so vibrant, so nicely offered. Nityananda Prabhu must be personally coming here to release the chipped rice here. Mexican chipped rice, Italian chipped rice. All varieties of chipped rice. So then they prepared, they gave every person 2 pots, milk, chipped rice. And when this news spread, thousands of people came. Bengal, Mahotsav means the Utsav. Utsav means festival, Mahotsav means eating. Prasadam, that is Mahotsav. And the news spread, thousands of people, many Brahmanas also they came. Bengalis are very fond of prasadam. You will not find anywhere. In Calcutta, I have seen, we do khichdi distribution, big officers standing in line to get little khichdi. In Bengal, you give rice, dal, sabji, where is the prasadam? Prasadam is khichdi, they have to have khichdi. Yeah, unique, Bengal is unique for prasadam. So they all came, big Brahmana, all Bhattacharyas, they came also. Then they prepared, then so many people came, there is no place in the field. They're standing with their pots inside the water. People standing and mixing the chipped rice and yogurt. Then Nityananda Prabhu, then he brought all the Bhattacharyas, they put high raised platform to sit. Brahmanas, Mahaprabhu used to respect Brahmanas very much, senior devotees. Please come forward. Close. Yes. In Bengal, there's a saying, Jaddi hai sujan tetulu patai noijan. The good people, 9 good people can stay in the area of a tamarind leaf. If they're good people. So come forward. So then, when everything is prepared, then Nityananda Prabhu, he meditated. And he brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Jagannath Puri. Mahaprabhu came personally. Nobody could see. Few people could see. Then Nityananda Prabhu, everybody ready. Then Nityananda Prabhu took Mahaprabhu walking through wherever devotees are there. Then he goes to one pot, picked up some chipped rice and feeding to Mahaprabhu. Jolnath Jayapataka Maharaj was telling, it must be looking like this. When chipped rice, putting in air, disappearing, but people cannot see who is feeding. Then Mahaprabhu takes something, put in Nityananda Prabhu. Then they went around like this. Finally, they all came and they started. And they're all enjoying Pulini Bhajan. Oh, in the meantime, that whose house was staying? Raghav Pandit. Raghav Pandit, he just came, Nityananda came with the devotees to see Ganga. But now he has not come back because lunch prasad is ready, varieties of food stuff. Raghav Pandit, hey, I cooked food for you, and what are you doing here? No, I'll do Pulin. I am a cowherd boy. I like this. Because he was Balaram, previous life was Balaram. So in this way he enjoyed. And Mahaprabhu came and all distributed prasadam. They're all starting and eating and all enjoying, saying Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. This a nice Pulin bhajan took place there. Then Mahaprabhu, the 7 pots, 3 pots he gave to Raghunath Das. And 4 pots he distributed to everybody, his remnants. This is the blessings of Vaishnavas. By asking blessings, you don't get blessings. If we behave, our behavior, our devotional service will be so sweet, they will be pleased to put the lotus feet on our head. They will be pleased to give the remnants. No? So that is a vivid example. This is Raghunath Das. Then Raghunath Das, night time, then he met. Night time they went to evening, the big kirtan, nice prasadam. The Raghunath Das personally met Nityananda Prabhu. Through some senior Raghav Pandit, he said, please appeal Nityananda Prabhu so that I can attend the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he said, yes, you are blessed. Then right after that, something happened. You read Chaitanya Charitamrita. How, in miracle way, Raghunath he escaped from there. That's why they give this example. Nitai bhajile gauru pave. Nitai bhajile gauru pave. Without the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, no one can reach Gauranga Mahaprabhu. What to speak of reaching the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Raghunath Das came back to his house in some pretext. He left the house in midnight. 12 days walking from Calcutta to Puri, almost 500, 600 kilometers, 12 days. Only 3 days he took little milk or something like that. Just imagine how much he should be inspired, addicted, to see, what eagerness would be in his heart, right? Nothing could stop him. Walking, much running looks like. No eating, nothing. Then he reached at Puri, and Mahaprabhu was very pleased. That Raghunath has come. Then Mahaprabhu handed over Raghunath to Swarup Damodar. That's why he is known as Swarupa Raghu. He remained there. Actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita we were reading, all information Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami received from Raghunath Das Goswami. He heard everything because he was with Mahaprabhu all the time. Then he told to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, so all the latter pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compiled by Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is actually given by Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami stayed there. His father gave 400 rupees and 2 servants when he came to know Raghunath is there. So what Raghunath was using, he used to cook, invite Mahaprabhu once or twice a month and feed him. At one point he stopped feeding. Then Mahaprabhu asked Govinda, what happened? Raghunath is no more feeding me. No, he is thinking, if I feed with my father's money, then I will be, it will be my false ego, pride, I am feeding to Mahaprabhu. So he stopped. What is eating? So he is sitting in front of the temple. Whatever is left, when pandas go, they give him eat. Mahaprabhu kept quiet. And after some time, Mahaprabhu did not see Raghunath Das there. He asked Govinda, what happened? I don't see Raghunath. No, Raghunath thought, Raghunath is not, he's going back some bhandara, free food distribution. Mahaprabhu is very happy, oh, very good. Others sitting there and thinking, who is coming, who is putting on my plate, who is not putting on my plate. See, Mahaprabhu is really unique. What his contribution, you know? Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, minister, prime minister, chief ministers, king. His father was paying 25 lakhs gold mohar, gold coins. That was his tax collector, he was. And what he made? He made all these big people beggar on the street. That was the power of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vairagya Pradhan, Mahaprabhur Bhakta Jata Vairagya Pradhan, Jaha Dekhi Tushtahan, Gaur Bhagavan. He became very pleased when he see the renounced mood of his followers. Then he stopped that, he was going different bhandara. One day he didn't go there. When Mahaprabhu went personally to see what Raghunath is doing, then what he was eating, you know? Jagannath Prasadam became rotten. They throw, the cow will not eat also. Raghunath will collect that, wash and wash and wash. And with that panta bhat we call in Bengali, and Oriya we call pakhal bhat, rice mixed with water. And he used to eat that. One day it happened, Mahaprabhu reached there. Then Mahaprabhu took pamphlet and, hey, what are you eating? Oh, Mahaprabhu is not repeating for you, don't eat. Hare, you are eating so tasty things, not inviting me. Then he sent him to Vrindavan. Afterwards, you know what happened to Raghunath. Raghunath har Vairagyajan Patharer Gira, line draw on the stone. So this festival is very unique. You are all blessed. So now the America leadership should see that whole America should come here for this festival. It's a unique festival to get merciful Lord Nityananda. Nityananda Prabhu did this, he ate little cheap rice 500 years ago. Now whole world is observing this. I go to Australia, everywhere Maharaj, they go to some pond, some lake, some river, cheap rice festival. Very interesting things happening. And Bedasar has a great idea. He want to do Jagannath date in Nabakalebar. You know Nabakalebar? In Puri, every 12 years, 18 years, they change the deity. And we'll have 50 year change the deity. Nabakalebar. Big festival will happen. So invite all of them from today. So they are planning 7 days program. We'll have Jagannath Katha. Amar boy tache Hachikumar Prabhu. Hachikumar is here? Anybody? I just published one book on Balaram and all Sri Mandir. Sri Mandir means 10 years it took to me. Everything in temple for Western devotee is very good. You are not allowed to inside, but if you read that book, you understand everything what is happening. Every deity, every temple, every step, every tree. And though you are allowed inside the temple, I am sure you have not seen anything. Because you don't know what it is. So if you read this book, you don't need to go to Puri. But interestingly, if you read this book, you like to go to Puri. Okay? We are having a special festival called the book called Sri Mandir. Only few books are here. And after long effort, just recently, Korpurnima time, I published a new book called Balaram. This Balaram book. So like Krishna book, Balaram book. The first expansion of Lord Krishna. It speaks of the Balaram Tattva. He is in spiritual world, how he prepared, how he appeared until he left the planet. Balaram Sahasra, holy names, and also how gopis, what sadhana they did to get Balaram as their husband. But few books are available outside on their book table. You can collect. Thank you so much. Jai New Panihati Dham ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Now Bedasar Prabhu will give a blasting lecture, explosive lecture.
Srila Prabhupada ki. If you can hear me, can you please raise all 4 of your arms? Shri Nityananda Ram Ki! Shri Nityananda Ram Ki! So I wanted to we have 3 more minutes before it's time for Arati. I wanted to request Braj Vilas Prabhu just take 1 minute. I'll put you on the spot. You have to come quick. Yes, we'll give him 1 minute, see how that works. He has to give some teasers. He's been doing a fast for the next okay.
He will speak for only 1 minute of Brahma's time, okay?
Just give a little intro.
Not Vrindavan. First Navati, mercy, then you go to enter Vrindavan. You can't enter Vrindavan without Navati.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे अजानुलंबितौ भुजौ कनकावदातु संकीर्तन के पितरो कमलायताक्षो विश्वंबरो द्विजबरो युगधर्म पालो वंदे जगत प्रिय करो करुणावतारो 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 हरे कृष्णा Srila Prabhupada Ki! First of all, I am very, very grateful to all the Prabhupada disciples who are here, assembled here for the Panihati festival today. Very auspicious day today. Just I told one of the devotee here to bring Lord Nityananda Paduka. I'm traveling with him all over the world, raising funds to build the temple which was predicted by him. And he told, please build my brother's temple. हमारा आशा ये है, हमारा भैया का मंदिर बना दो. Please build my brother's temple. And this is what Srila Prabhupada wanted from all of us, to build this temple. And 2027 is the 50th disappearance of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. On this 2027 very auspicious day, we wanted to offer this temple to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada, you have told us to cooperate on this one temple. We all cooperated and built this temple and offering it to you so that you can offer this temple to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as your personal offering. This is what we wanted to do, and this is why we are traveling all over the world and begging each and every one of you, if you have made a pledge, please complete your pledge. If you have not made a pledge, please make a pledge. We have our booth outside. And if you have made a pledge, complete your pledge, take another pledge. This is Danda Mahotsav. This is what how Hare Krishna movement or ISKCON works. This is the actual punishment. If you make a pledge, it is eternal. You keep on making a pledge again and again and again and again. Because we have 365 days and we have 465 festivals. Practically every day is a festival here. And this is the biggest festival, building this temple. The largest Vedic temple ever built on this planet Earth. For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to establish him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So on this very, very auspicious day, Lord Nityananda Prabhu Paduka is here. As Maharaj was saying, he put his head on Raghunath Das Goswami, and the Paduka is here. Definitely we will put in each and every one of your head today. This is a mercy, compassionate. We will put in each and every one of your head, but remember, please build his brother's temple. Don't forget. Very, very important. Very important. For Prabhupada, we should do anything possible to make this happen on this 50th disappearance of His Divine Grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki! Thank you so very much. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Nityananda Rama ki jai. Chitra, whenever you're ready, you just give us, okay, 1 minute. So I wanted to also, on behalf of New Panihati Dham, we are so overjoyed with your presence, and it is truly a remarkable experience to be here with so many illustrious disciples of Srila Prabhupada, hearing the stories, the purity, the innocence, and the inspirations that they carry in their hearts. And it feels, as Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj expresses, that to be in the shelter of the fruits of Srila Prabhupada's purity and Srila Prabhupada's mission, it is extremely refreshing. I'm always very grateful whenever I get any quality time or any time to associate with any devotees. Balavanta Prabhu was just sitting under the tent and just sharing his times with Prabhupada and how he is so inspired. And many of you know that he just recently had a physical challenge, and there he had a very unique experience. I wasn't here for his class, I was in the back picking up some trash, so I missed not sure if he shared this story. But just to hear that he's here with us, and during his health challenge, he had experienced something extremely transcendental, is the word that he used. What it is to be in complete surrender in that spiritual realm with the lordships. So it's a big wake-up call for all of us, that as many Srila Prabhupada disciples are still around amongst us, we should try to see how to try and optimize the time that we have in this human form of life to try and get more and more of their association. So this is my meditation celebrating the 50th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON. When I found out that this temple was filled with Srila Prabhupada disciples. Every time I talk to any leaders in North America, they tell me. So Vas Prabhu in LA, he tells me he was here when Srila Prabhupada came. When you talk to Vaisheshika Prabhu, he was here when Srila Prabhupada came, and how it inspired them. So I would like all of you to please keep this meditation in mind, that Srila Prabhupada's mercy is still flowing, his shelter is still there, and we have this unique opportunity in this lifetime to somehow continue to seek and seep ourselves in the shelter and association of this incredible disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Panihati Dham ki. Gifts. Sikhi Prabhu said nobody should move. So you're coming with the gifts before the arti. Okay. Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Gaura 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 Hari. Gaura 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 Hari. Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Panchagora. Panchagora. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hare. Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki. Shri Nityananda Rama ki. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu. Toma vina ke dayalo jagat sansare. Toma vina ke dayalo jagat sansare.
Mahaprabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi. Kripa bala ghana koro ami boro joghi. Ati pabolo kada koro ami boro joghi. Pabolo Jaya karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai. Jaya karo Sitapati Advaita Gosai. তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই।
তব কৃপা বলে পাই চৈতন্য নিতাই।
Swaro Sanna Sana Rupa Raghunatha Swaro Sanna Sana Rupa Raghunatha Bata Juga Se Jiva Prabhu Loknatha Bata Juga Se Jiva Prabhu Loknatha
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eta. दया कर श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवास राम रामचंद्र संग मगे नरोत्तम दास रामचंद्र संग मगे नरोत्तम दास
रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास रामचंद्र संग मागे रामचंद्र संग मागे नरोत्तम दास रामचंद्र
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More
जगत संसार
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, 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 Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari, Jaya Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Nitai Gauranga, Gaura Hari. Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaura Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
আপনি ওনার সাথে আপনি ওখানে যাবেন, উনিও করুন।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Whoa. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Nitai Gora Nitai Gora Nitai Gora Nitai Gora, 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 Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora, Hari Bolo Nitaya Gauranga, Nitaya Gauranga. Bolo Nitaya Gauranga, Gaur Hari. Bolo Nitaya Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. Bolo Gaur Hari, Jaya Gaur Hari. Bol Nitaya Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. Bolo Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. Are Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. 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 Bolo Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. Bolo Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Gaur Hari. হরি বলো জয় সচিনন্দন জয় সচিনন্দন Raise your hand please জয় সচিনন্দন জয় সচিনন্দন নদিয়া বিহারী জয় সচিনন্দন বিষ্ণুপ্রিয়া প্রাণ ধনু নদিয়া বিহারী জয় সচি নন্দন জয় সচি নন্দন আহা জয় সচি নন্দন জয় সচি নন্দন বলো জয় সচি নন্দন জয় সচি নন্দন বলো জয় সচি নন্দন গৌর হরি বলো জয় সচি নন্দন গৌর হরি আহা জয় সচি নন্দন গৌর হরি জয় সচি নন্দন গৌর হরি বলো গৌর হরি জয় গৌর হরে বলো গৌর হরি জয় গৌর হরে বলো গৌর হরি জয় গৌর হরে বলো গৌর হরে Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Everybody hands up, please. Nitai, Nitai Gaur Hari. 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 Everybody, Nitai, 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 go. Hands up. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Nitai, Nitai, go. Hari Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai, Nitai, Gaura, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai. Nitai go, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, dabba. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody, please. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.